Hello Exiles, this is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming and welcome to another Path of Exile video. This is going to be my last build update for my Molten Strike Warden, and it has done pretty much everything in the game. I've done pretty much all the Ubers. I've done all of the kind of endgame stuff you can do. I've tried all the different map mods, can do pretty much all of them. There are certain combinations, especially on tier 17s, that it has difficulties with. I'm going to try this one now. I actually am not curse immune, so all three curses are going to be on me. Monster Life, Power Charge, Endurance Charge, Mark for Death. So we'll give this one a shot. And the scarabs I'm going to use are just a bunch of things that add more packs to the thing. So like Hunted Traders, pack size, Influence pack size, some Dwayne is Devoted, some Shrines. And I will, just do Domination. Add more packs. Okay. Just give it a shot. Currently, the only upgrades I can reasonably make, I've already spent like 250 divines, and all of my further upgrades are like 200 divines each, like Nimbus, Mage Blood, Awakened Multi-Strike, that kind of thing. So there's not realistically much I can do as far as, making upgrades without breaking the bank and liquidating a bunch of good stuff that I actually want to use, like my power runes and my tier 17s, which I don't really want to do because I'm currently, after spending a decent amount of currency, down to almost trying to read. I'll just give the final boss a little bit of a boost to get some grand embers. I didn't really read what it is. Shouldn't matter too much. Grab the shrines, of course. I'm not even using one of the main... Okay, so I can speed this up considerably. So I've changed the build up quite a bit. I'm now currently not using Elemental Overload, or not Elemental Overload, the one that gives 80% more damage. Instead, I'm using the Tincture stacking one, and that allows me to keep pretty much full uptime on my tinctures. When they go down, they last for another usually 6 seconds. Sometimes when there's some downtime behind things, it's not quite so much. It also reduces the cooldown, so my downtime is very low for the tinctures. Alright, get through here. Activate my tinctures. As you can see, the clear is not bad, even in, the delirium. I've done up to 80% delirious T17s, and the bosses can be a slog if you get like, monster life and boss life both stacked combined in 80%, but otherwise the damage is about 100 million with anger on. And with anger not on, which sometimes I forget to switch my grace to anger during boss fights. In fact, I forget very often to do that. But with anger not on, it's still like 89 million, something like that. So with no offensive auras whatsoever, currently 89 million. And you can reach about 50 to 60% of that power for about 10 divines, whereas you start getting very diminishing returns. Although the big upgrades I currently have left are actually going to be fairly significant in terms, like, for instance, if I get a Nimbus, Mage Blood, and Awakened Melee Strike are the three big upgrades, and each one of those is very large. The biggest of which being Nimbus, which not only would get rid of my 60% less damage from my projectiles, so that over doubles the damage right there. That's 150%, but it actually gives me access to another support gem, which could be another like 30-40% more damage on top of that. So pretty much would close to triple my damage just for the Nimbus, which is pretty nice. So then you'd be looking at over 300 300 million damage just for that one switch up. And then if you add Awakened Melee Strike, that's another like 25% more damage on top of that. So we'd probably be looking at about 375 million. And then Mage Blood, depending on what flask you use, could get you some more damage, but will definitely get you tankier. So you're looking at true end game, like if you really want to push this, 500 million DPS and quite good survivability. My current max hit is something around 13k without steel skin. In fact, I almost never have to use steel skin, which is actually quite bad, because that sometimes, because I'm not used to just pressing it all the time, I don't use it when I need to. So not so great there. The ambush scarabs, of course. Always got to pick ambush scarabs. They're quite nice price-wise. Comparatively, at least. Where is the boss? Was he down in that little corner down there? Trying to find the boss here. Oh, well, I'll probably have to get rid of this repeating shrine before I do the boss, otherwise it's not a very good demo, because it will trivialize the boss even, you know, with the extra stuff. So yeah, I'll go ahead and pop my shrines off before I do the boss. Is this the boss down here? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead just to show. I'll get rid of... Actually, I'll just get rid of all the shrines currently, just so we're starting. And normally I do switch my grace off for anger during boss fights. So I'll do that. I did take a decent amount from that laser. But once we get to actually swinging, it starts to build up the damage quite nicely. As long as we're hitting things, we can pretty much tank whatever. And yeah, that was the boss with 85% more life, with me having temp chains, and I have no reduced curse, nothing to reduce that, so I'm getting the full effect of temp chains nerfing my damage. Plus it had whatever boss thing I gave it. Oh, 77 physical as extra. So, fire. I'm gonna quick clear out the rest of this map because it looks like it's just nearly done, or at least the bulk of the like extra rooms. And just have a couple little weird spots in the middle here. I'll take the chaos damage over time jewel. I don't really sell jewels, but I might, you know, use it in the future. So, Titanic Scarab. Actually, I probably should just take the quantity, but I don't know if there's enough left for that to even be reasonable. And we have this little corner down here, and yeah, there's not really much more. Good enough. Good enough, I didn't use expensive scarabs anyway. Okay. Let's look at the build. So I am using the exact same claw. It was so good I didn't really need to upgrade it. There's not a lot I can do to upgrade it other than, you know, I could try to divine it to be better, because, you know, some of the damage rolls are a little low. So I could use some divines to get that better. I think I have enough attack speed where I could drop off the attack speed for just cold damage, which would probably be a pretty drastic DPS, but just the more attack speed, the better it feels. I could, you know, try to enchant the 6% attack speed, get a little bit there. The only major upgrade I could make is make this exact same claw, but use the essence crafted attack speed, which can go up to 30%. And that would be the major upgrade I could make. But other than that, this claw is exactly what I want for the build. Perfect. Made new gloves. Biggest change to the build is I am currently running Aspect of the Crab. Aspect of the Crab is very good. We get hit very infrequently, so it's up pretty much all the time. And that gives us 20% physical damage reduction. We rarely get hit multiple times while in order to keep it off of the max stacks. And you know, as long as it's up, it works for like physical damage over time and that kind of stuff too. Very, very strong. What initially got me to want to use Aspect of the Crab is actually I was playing around with Bark Skin and specifically Lesson of the Seasons. Lesson of the Seasons has an interesting synergy where if you lose your Aspect of the Crab, you're also losing Bark Skin, and as your Bark Skin lowers, you get higher amount of spell suppression. So it kind of takes the weakness of getting shotgunned by physical spells that Aspect of the Crab has, and it counteracts that. And when they're both up, it's very, very powerful. So yeah, when you take a physical damage from a hit. Yeah, so this kind of stops you from getting shotgunned by physical spell hits, but we have spell block and stuff too, so that's not really that big of a deal. I got rid of Avatar of the Wilds because Unbound was, for a lot of the Uber bosses and stuff, I could use it on their third phase, but it just wasn't up long enough or often enough for me to take advantage. I do so much damage that I thought being able to have the tincture up for the whole fight is actually going to be more efficient. And Enduring Suffusion allows me to do that, and it also, if I remember, or if I'm using it properly, allows me to use it during the entirety of the of mapping. It's sometimes like it'll be up for like, you know, 8 to 15 seconds usually, and then the after effect will go for 6 seconds, and the cooldown is reduced by this node, or no, sorry, the mana burn rate. So there's usually like a couple of seconds roughly every in between maybe 11 and 25 seconds or so that it's down, but it's up just a huge majority of the time, like 90% of the time. I have my tincture effect. My tincture is giving me a lot of attack speed. I got the tier 1 attack speed roll almost max rolled. I would have preferred effect to reduce mana burn rate, but this works fine, and it just kind of keeps the uptime a little bit higher. But yeah, if I had gotten increased effect, or even the hybrid increased effect, the bigger one, that would have been a lot more DPS. The uptime would have just been a lot worse. The one that gives you more mana burn rate. Other nice thing about these gloves, I actually bought a base with these gloves that had the cold damage, attack speed, and life on them, and I tried recombinating them. I tried to get chaos resist on this so I could drop it elsewhere. Ended up getting lightning resist, which was fine, and then the hybrid armor and evasion, which also wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it's not bad. I'm pretty happy with it overall, and of course I had to have an open suffix so I could craft Aspect of the Crab. So not perfect, but pretty close to perfect, and I did take the time to elevate finally. I actually farmed all of my own whatchamacallits, these guys, Orbs of Conflict. I farmed a bunch of those, and elevated my Vol Strike skills, target 2 additional nearby enemies, which is great because I usually don't bother with that, and the 2 additional means I can drop this mastery, or I could have it if I wanted even better clear. Clear speed obviously isn't great, but it's not bad because we kill things fast and we have fast attack speed, so we can just Whirling Blades, you know, quickly to the next pack. And if I'm really like dialed in, it's even faster than what I was showing. I got a new ring. Unfortunately, I made this ring mostly through recombination, and then I crafted the non-channeling skills, and then I Redeemer slammed, and all of the Redeemer slams from the Redeemer exalts were good except for the minions deal increased damage. So I got the only bad outcome. Pretty unlucky, but I guess it makes up for my claw craft that I had earlier, where I got, you know, tier 1 of the best possible outcome. Which I did end up selling that claw for 100 divines. It was pretty nice. It probably could have sold it for more, but I just, you know, wanted to get 100 divines so I could buy other stuff. Still have this same one, which is tier 1 life, lots of attributes, good resist, and unfortunately physical damage. I'm probably going to do some solo self-found for a little bit, so I'm not going to bother trying to recombinate or buy a better one. This is still really, really, really good ring, but, you know, unfortunate about that physical damage to attacks. And I spent a lot of time on this, throwing together a lot of Conquest Lamellars, and got myself a 2800 good life, not tier 1 life, but chaos resist roll. And I definitely wanted higher armor and evasion, and this was still an upgrade from what I had. It wasn't a huge upgrade, but it was an upgrade. And you know, I would have liked a natural roll physical damage reduction on it, or spell suppression, so I could drop it on my shield and upgrade that. But I was pretty happy with this outcome. It's a very good, and once again, I'm just using the greater Eldritch Implicence on this. I never ended up buying that % life max power charge heat shiver. You know, it'd make me a little tankier, be nice, but I just haven't done it. Haven't bothered. Still using this amulet. Now it's got fire damage to attacks on it. I might have recrafted this since I last did. I think I just like essence spammed something like, oh maybe not. I don't remember exactly what I did. I might have also harvest crafted it, but I think I recrafted it since I last showed it off. But it's got tier 1 life, some damage, attributes, and then cold and chaos res, so you know, got to keep that chaos res capped off. I might swap critical strike multi for a +1 to all resistances, and then try to elevate to +2 to all resistances. That would make me significantly tankier as well, but you know, probably not necessary. Still using the same belt. It's a great belt. Just life, elemental with attack, strength, which gives more life, resistances. It's been good enough that I haven't really seen the need to replace it. Even the mana is a little bit helpful, because having the extra mana will make it so, you know, the mana burn takes a little bit longer, just keeps higher uptime on tincture. Still bubonic trails, exact same cardinal shield. I don't know if I had the crafted increased damage per power charge on it last time. You know, it was just sitting there, and it was a pretty good shield, so I just threw a synth implicit on it, and I had a pretty good one. So it's just 12% increased damage, but it's better than what was there before. And that's the gear. The flasks, I'm using Quicksilver currently. You can swap this out for, you know, whatever, like stone skin, or not stone skin, just something that'll give you some armor. Probably not Basalt Flask, but the other one. You could switch it out for a Sulfur Flask. I don't need the Crit Flask anymore because of some slight changes I made. You can run a Gold Flask, Sulfur Flask, anything like that. But, you know, Quicksilver just makes things go a little faster. Excuse me. Alright. Changes to the tree, not too much. Honestly, I have switched a few things around. I've experimented with a few things. I cut one of my... I do enough damage now that I didn't need as much increased effective non-damaging ailments. So I actually dropped one of my increased effective non-damaging ailments medium clusters, so that I'd have a little bit of extra space to spend on other things. I got Cornered Prey to max out my crit, because that gives me multi as well. So that way I don't have to run a crit flask. And it gives me the option to run Oriath's End for clear, which is really nice. And it'll also overcap my resistances by quite a bit, which will help against like Cursed with Elemental Weakness and some of the alter effects, which I just take them. Sometimes I drop to like 40 res and I'm still fine most of the time. I do die occasionally when I go a little too overboard with both the mods and the alters, but you know, that's just kind of limit testing. Other than that, trees pretty close to the same. I have a couple of suppressed tattoos, which I don't know if I mentioned last time, a cold damage tattoo. I have a chance to avoid being poison tattoo, which I don't even have, you know, any other stuff there, so I don't know what the point of that was. It's just on there. That could be a little bit extra evasion, which once I get rid of anger here and put this back on, evasion at a baseline without any flasks is 19.5 thousand, and then it's almost 23k with my flasks up. Armor is, you know, not that high, but with the aspect of the crab and with fortify and with flesh and stone, wherever that is, there it is, with flesh and stone, just we don't take a lot of damage, and that little bit of armor after all of the mitigation layers makes it so, you know, generally speaking, anything that does get through all of those mitigation layers isn't going to do much. Don't need a ton of armor to make that happen. I would like more, obviously, and there was a time where I was actually in cloth and chain and getting the 40% increased armor if you haven't been hit recently, and 40% increased evasion if you have been hit recently, which is very strong, but I wanted to make a good balance of defense and offense, and I think I've hit that. I'm going to be doing the solo self-found run, and then I'll put out a full guide with leveling tree. If you want to follow that, go ahead and subscribe and check back in. And this has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I'll see you next time. Bye.